Bhar an ráta ard báis, go háire I meas na néaránach firin an chéad longa go New South Wales, chorach fiaus an aire a tugacht an lastas loch verdéana. Bhí máin lia bord gach linge in ag 85. Íochach na conarthaí longa seoireachta go páirteach de réir dorí, is é sin lína néaránach bio a tugacht í an chalínacht. Gáníoch man ná foláine le carcha na hastráile, chorach éadaí fáildóibh agus chuníoch súl an naiste bia.
It was commonplace on convict vessels to scrub at least one deck every day. That chloride of lime, chloride of zinc were put down on the decks in order to make sure that they were clean, that clothes were regularly washed, that bedding was washed and aired, that stoves were burnt throughout the vessel to make sure that the air wasn't too damp, that the convicts were exercised, that there were checks on the food to see that it was fit for consumption. That kind of regulation just didn't exist elsewhere in the British Isles.
Ní réitigh an bia bord le man na héireann, go háirithe an bhuiceol chaite a d'éirigh níos sáilte fós nuair a chuaigh an toras ar aghaidh.
There's records showing that when they were in Grange Gorman prison at Dublin, they were fed just bread and milk, and then when they were on ship, their diet consisted of peas and rice and salted beef or salted pork. So for the first time in a long time, these women were eating meat, and so illnesses occurred as a result of that. So there was high incidence, for example, on the Australasia, of fever and obstipation, which is chronic constipation, from the change in the women's diet.
In 1836, chuireadh máitriún bord gach long, rud a bhí á lorg le fada ag Elizabeth Fry, ball de Chumann na Garad agus bunachór an British Lady Society ach lasú bandéaránach.
Elizabeth Fry wanted to give women more of an opportunity to earn their own living, and so she wanted matrons on convict ships to look after the women and make sure they weren't harassed by sailors and that sort of thing. And she gave them embroidery so that they could make articles which they could sell in Van Diemen's Land, and also they could learn embroidery if they didn't know and had a skill, because that was the most useful skill by which women could actually earn a living. And she also wanted them to behave better, to be respectable and middle class, but she actually saw women convicts as women, not as wild beasts almost, as some of the middle class people seem to have seen them. She saw them as people who were there to be helped.
For, maybe 15 years, they visited every ship that sailed from the Thames, bringing religious admonition, of course, but also bringing practical parcels for the women, which included the pieces of patchwork that they were encouraged on the early ships of that project. They were encouraged to make quilts and then to sell them when they got to where they were going, and to keep their money. So that was a very smart idea. And the Rajah quilt, which is the only quilt left from this project, was certainly, it's dedicated to Elizabeth Fry's group.
Chunnig na main líana na cabhrún mátrún súl géir chórsaí le linn an toris.
The women would have formed friendship groups, perhaps even when they were in their local county jails before they were moved to Grange Gorman, before they were put on the ship. They would have formed friendship groups, and these would have been the substance of the messes of 8 or so women that they had to form on the ship. And then a mess captain would be elected to dole out the rations and to make sure that their area of the ship was kept clean. The matron, who looked after, to some degree, the discipline of the women as well, but she oversaw their learning, so learning to read and write and learning work skills that would be useful for them in the colony when they arrived.
Bhí le bhéal litreachta na mandéaránach as éireann in chora leis an gcuideile den déanara.
Má hagadú éire trí chéile, tá an caiideán litreachta ard go maith. In éon bhachtí cearcha hen, tá beag nach leathan déanra an léthireacht. níl sé sin ro ísio I gáhex orpach, tá sé bhaid níos ísle beidir na Sasan nó Alban, ach má chuntas náirh gur tír atá in éireann go in chuid is mó an daimre faoin tua, gur tír tuatá. Níl sé sin ro ísle, tá go daine ná léamh. Éideachas gon chuid is mó sé a bhí eisna éideachas as Berla, fiúin do chail gáil. Dólam daoine Berla, a géaddul síos tar rire le deile le chorad éagsú an marga agus an stát. Ní leir an stát gaige. Ní hé go gurn sé coscar gaige.
Ágáil chorcaí nó bhailteach léadóibh, cínach go ránam an á foláin golóir le cruútan an toris áda a cheasar. Bhí cuacht ag an main lia cheanfort dúil